All right, how's it going? It's been a long time since I've spoken to a camera. I've got new music out, so Rollin with It came out a couple of weeks ago now, and everyone's been very kind about it. I'm glad people like it. It's the first of these new digital electronic guitar-y tunes, and a couple of people talked about the whole mix breakdown thing, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of dive in and have a look at how I went about all of this, and hopefully it will be useful to someone out there who's making music and, you know, finds this interesting. So first thing to point out is how different this sounds from the original demo. If you've been following my stuff for a couple of years, back in 2020 I think I did a demo of the Corey Wong archetype, and it was with this initial idea when it was very bare bones and basic. And when you A/B these two together, which I'll do in this video, it's night and day how much this has come on. Not that the original version was bad, but just I'm really chuffed at, you know, hearing the progression in my production stuff. So we start off with a doubled kind of pentatonic phrase, which is this, and a distorted guitar. Archetype, Mateus Asato. Oh, that one. Archetype, yeah, Mateus Asato. And then that's doubled, and these are kind of split between different channels because it just made it easier to process with different settings. So these are going to sound slightly different. You can hear that one's a lot raspier and a bit more aggressive. So if I just solo these filter leads, then you'll hear them all work together. Aesthetically, with these new tunes, what I'm going for is that very hi-fi tight, vacuumy almost electronic thing. And it took me a long time, like almost about a year, to just sometimes redo tracks completely, of marrying the kind of drums, bass and guitar band thing with this tight electronic thing. So I'll try and be a bit more descriptive rather than saying thing a lot. And the way I went about doing this was treating it like a band track, you know, guitar, drums and bass, but augmenting it with these electronic sounds, but also in the production, making sure that everything's kind of pulsing around the kick and everything's got its own place, and also sidechaining everything quite a bit. So if I just solo the drums, very electronic. Like there are actual kit samples in here, like we've got a real kit, again MIDI, but like live elements as well, but most of it is all of these samples. And then when you put them all together, you get the kind of punch of the electronic elements, but the realness of the organic ones. So that was fun to play around with. But crucially, everything is pulsing around the kicks. And there's a great plugin that I used all over these new tracks that I got from watching Metric videos, actually, a great drum and bass producer. But he talks about this plugin called Track Spacer by Waves Factory. Absolutely love it. And what it does, it's a frequency dependent sidechain. So you can choose it to look at the kick and it will duck out like that, the kick frequencies. So that's really handy for literally carving out that space. So this is on the bass bus. It's going to be on all of these different buses for chords, guitars, and it means that the kick can just punch through and really impact. So if I solo the basses, for instance, here, and then pop it in, you'll hear it kind of duck. Very subtle. But then if I put the drums in, that kind of kick attack comes through first, and then the bass kind of hugs the kind of transient tail of it, as well as everything else. So it means everything pulses around the kick. So that's how you get that punchy, vacuumy thing. Anyway, that was a long-winded way of talking about that, but that's the intro. But that's how I was kind of approaching this, that very tight electronic thing, but using these organic sounds mixed with all of the electronic stuff. So that's the intro. We then go into this very disco-esque kind of verse pre. And back into that thing. So this, I wanted to foreshadow that kind of main poppy hook and filter everything right off. So we've got this nice lo-fi kick here. Let's just solo that. A nice thuddy low end. Then some filtered drums, which I believe I've bounced out, yeah, from a plugin, just like kind of creating drums and just, you know, committing to the audio. I think it was Hot by UJam, which make great plugins. Just a kit on that, again, bounced it out, filtered it, and there's probably some automation going on. No, there's not. Yes, there is. So Sounds kind of cool by itself, but that's just, you know, letting the high frequencies through. That'll be a sample that I got from Splicer somewhere and threw it in the sampler and chopped it up, which added a nice little texture. What else we got? Oh yeah, the kind of disco bass line. So I've called it French bass because I'm very much at the minute, and it's all over these new tracks, I'm very much into kind of French house and French touch and that kind of prominent bass line thing. So this very mid-rangey Justice kind of sound comes in. Which is just super like mid-rangey and parpy is the word I like to use. But felt great. Again, pulsing around that kick. And then a little stutter. And some retro pads. Yeah, like a kind of retro harp, just the retro synth Logic one. Does the job. Some filtered guitars. And the kind of lo-fi, I've called them Dafts because it's just very Daft Punk. Again, filtered with the EQ and just two different versions. One's probably a bit more aggressive. With a nice bit of slapback on it as well. And that's kind of it. No real atmosphere or texture stuff going on. Then we go into that main like punchy hook again, and we have the vocoder.
We're rolling with it.
So I bought a vocoder. I'll actually get it right now. This thing, will it focus? Maybe. Oh, there we go. This thing is a Digitech Talker, and it's, I believe, the one Daft Punk used on Discovery. Editing John here, they also used it on loads of other stuff. They're like the Daft Punk vocoder sound, in my opinion anyway. And just matched it on some guy's offer on Reverb, like secondhand. It was the only one left in the country. And I drove down to get it because I didn't want it to be shipped because it would have broken. Like, it doesn't even come with the original power supply. Very fragile and like hard to get. And it just sounds really, really cool. So I actually used this in a fun way because I triggered it with Archetype Rabia Massad and used the synth in that to carry this kind of sawtooth wave. So I was playing it all in with a guitar, which was loads of fun. So all of these hooks are played on guitar, not with a keyboard, but through this guy. The Digitech Talker. I absolutely love this thing. It's really good. Let's find that. Where are they? There's so many tracks. And I forgot to say, we also have some kind of harmonized rolling vocoder words, just repeated. Hidden in there, which added a nice bit of build. And then the main kind of hook ones.
We're rolling with it.
And this is two different phrases. First one.
We're rolling with it.
Kind of very clean, mid-rangey, throaty, centered one. And then a very aggressive, like, you know, Devil Lock and Micro Shift, like a wide one. Both of them together just sounded really fat and great.
We're rolling with it.
And then we get to the verse. So drop the one completely and come in on the and, I think.
Rolling with it.
And there's a fun little noise there. That's literally me into my voice memo app. I went on like a mix test drive and I was like, someone needs to be in that gap. And watching loads of John Bellion videos, he's big into like just adding stupid noises with his mouth that I love. And like a whoop just would have worked there. So I think it is an F, like the main kind of root of the track. But and yeah, put some distortion on it and made it a bit wider. Incidentally, everything is frozen because I'm screen recording and I don't think my computer can take everything at once. So sorry about that. If people want me to genuinely go into plugins and, you know, open stuff up, let me know. But for now, we're just doing it this way. So it's very different to the intro. It's a very kind of juxtaposed verse, but I love the kind of laid back thing it has. And that, I think, is accidental. It's, you know, programmed on the beat, but with these chords, the way the filter opens, it kind of, don't know what that was, but with these chords and the way the filter opens, it led to a very kind of laid back feel. So And that's just like an ES2. Oh no, retro synth and ES2. So just stock Logic stuff. And yeah, that with the drums. If I just solo the drum bus with those, it's very behind the beat. It's almost out of time. And then just put some bass in it as well. That's not the bass. That's the bass. Another kind of workflow change when making all this electronic music was bringing layers in and out. Like with the music that I've made before, it's been very much, drums, keys, guitar, bass, all the way through. And then, maybe a thing had come in and out, but there's kind of only 7 or 8 different elements, really. But with this, sometimes it's literally just a tiny little region for ages, and that's really fun. It's kind of like an audio jigsaw, but that was something that took a long time to get into the workflow of and feel like I was making progress. And it's all these little things that add up. So yeah, if I just play this verse, you'll hear all these different layers come in and out. So that's the bass parts with an S on the end. And you'll see here, like, this is mad chopped up, but I can play that part. But with the pocket and the kind of behind the beat thing, it just needed nudging. So there's all these fades. And that's a real bass. That's me kind of playing it in, going through parallax and a bit of like EQ compression, that sort of thing, just to pin it. And then on top of that, we've got the chords, like I talked about, some keys. So just some very bright stuff to kind of give it some sizzle when everything comes in. And with the guitars here, I've got these baritones, but it's only the very tops of them because there's so much weight in the synths. I didn't need all the low end, so it's just that kind of fizz up top, which is fun. And then we've also got some position 4s on, I think, the Chapman ML1, but it's 2 lipsticks, so they're very bright pickups, which look like just audio. Yes, straight from QC, be some kind of Vox sound. Then some acoustics. Just left and right, gives it some organicness. When everything's so tight and precise, I love adding acoustics because they're very messy naturally, and they just add a nice width to stuff. So that's all the guitars. What we got down here? Oh yeah, all these filter leads. So similar to the bass, we've got loads of stuff coming in and out. So you get the idea there. There's lots coming in and out, very different sounds, like some of the filtered, like these auto wire inserts. They're all from Corey Wong, incidentally, because the auto wire in that is great. Saw some pan automation there going left to right. And then juxtaposed with these aggressive leads just from the intro. And yeah, this patch that I made on QC, just to double everything. Sounds like a kind of keyboard, but it's a phaser going into distortion and giving that vowel quality, which I love. I think played on a Les Paul as well. Nothing else. So that's the verse. I'll play it all together, although hopefully you've listened to the song by now. But anyway, here's all of that in the verse. As the track goes towards the chorus, it got a bit more swung. So I added in some fun percussions here, which sounds like this. Which were fun to add in, just gave it a bit of bounce. Like very late and lazy on the beat, but... just kind of, yeah, shakers. We got like straight up ultra beat Logic percussion bank patch just with some cool bits in it. And if you look at the MIDI, it's very off the beat, like some of these, all over the place in terms of timing, but it was manual MIDI moving for that. And oh yeah, So I love my watches, me, and there's a Speedmaster here, an Omega Speedmaster, I think. Sounded great. So that's left and right because I've got a chorus plugin on it, so it just adds that width. Again, it's not really a prominent layer, but with all the other percussions, just adds a nice kind of thing. Very subtle, but threw it in there anyway. So then we've got like a wet snap here, just again, bit of verb. And those all just bring it up to this. Kind of big build before the chorus. So let's have a look at that. So there's quite a lot going on. It's very sporadic and scatterbrained. That's how it sounds. But I love that, again, that French touch, French house sampled thing where everything's very in and out and busy, but still has a kind of hook to it weirdly when everything's kind of balanced right. So now onto the drums. You'll hear everything's nice and live and kind of aggressive sounding. And now the snare's got a bit of a kind of tail to it with that ring of the room. So in the verse, what I did was automate that out, which sounds very kind of naff when you solo it like that. But that tail wasn't really needed in the verse. I wanted it to be very dry and tight. But now in the chorus, when everything's a bit livelier, it could afford to have a bit of ring on it and, you know, feel a bit more rock. Still all of these, you know, electronic elements on top. Some hats doing just straight up eighths. Let's solo these one by one. So we've got the drums. And the crash kind of layer is partly for adding some brightness on top of the chord stabs, but when I play this, my drummer, Alex, shout out Alex, has quite a tough job of like choking stuff. And when it, you know, is live, it's very difficult to do that and play everything else going on, but Alex found a way. So shout out Alex. Then we've got some snaps and some percussion stuff. And these are just augmenting that snare. So if I solo these, alternating snaps and claps. Got some shakers. Just on the offs, shaker ander. So this will be the kind of 1E ander of a 16th division. Then a tambourine. Just a bit of lift for that second half. And then the main basses of the chorus. And I haven't really broken these down. So let's just loop that. We've got the main sub, which you may not hear if you're listening on a phone, but this is just giving it that low end, which you'll hear in a kind of bigger system. And that's consistent, nice and clean all the way through the track, basically. Then we've got a clean actual bass. I say actual bass. It's a MIDI instrument of Nolly from Periphery. You know, get good fame. Great patch. Which sounds, again, really silly because it's all just MIDI information, like 127, super, like, you know, loud, and no one would really play a bass like that. But when layered with all these other elements, sounds nice and punchy and aggressive. And I didn't care that it sounded fake, but there is a time and place for dialing that sort of stuff in right. Then you got some distorted, again, same sort of thing, but with the distorted patch, which is just really cool, straight down the middle. Then the French bass again, just that super narrow, like nasal mid-range. This one called Naughty Hard Bass. Super bright and wide as well. This throaty filter, this was like another serum patch that I made, and it's just very like vowely. Again, super wide, snarly bass. a very similar sound, but for some reason I felt like I needed it. There's going to be a theme here where I have far too much going on, and that's because I think I've been working on this track for far too long. We've got a little dirty wub, just a kind of growl at the start of each section, and then the kind of live bass that I played in. And again, like move the transients just so you can get the exact timing and like punch with the drum. So these are all going to be chopped up and moved about a bit. And a nice little snarly bass doubling that. Then we're onto some chords. So they sound like this. And we've got this bright pad. And some kind of 80s keys, I've called them. So that's like a piano and a sawtooth bass kind of thing. Oh yeah, below that we've then got some samples. So I've got a great little Oliver string, like disco dive, which is just perfect. Choir chop. So these are all the chords just with a choir. I think I used the UVI orchestral suite for this. But any choir chops will do, like any library, because they're so short. Again, sounds super fake, but that's the aesthetic of all this choppy, sampley sound. So doesn't matter if it shifts like that. And these are all just bounced out and moved about. I think I've even called them what chord they are. How conscientious is that? Oh yeah, loads of guitars. Forgot that I'm a guitarist. So all of these, again, the very top baritones. Just the top end of them for some sizzle. Then some acoustics. Just doubling everything. Then, oh yeah, some 1975s left and right, which are just, again, 1975 inspired dyads and triads, basically. So we've got the left one and the right one. Very similar things, just position 4 and 2. So different positions for a bit of difference. And then a kind of contact brass thing. And all of those together just sound really fun. Below that, we've then got all the leads. So these are going to be the main kind of hooks. Let's just solo these. Again, just doubled and greater than the sum of their parts. Like, it wouldn't sound as thick if it was just the lead synth. So guitar and that kind of Daft lead sound really worked. And it kind of became the sound of the track, really. What else we got? Oh yeah, some nice little vocoder additions in between those. Which are fun. Oh yeah, some vocals that I haven't talked about. Not much vocals going on in this track, like my kind of previous EP, which didn't need them, but there's a big old swell, I think, of a G flat major 9 chord. Again, like with that pump of the sidechain on that track spacer, just to kind of swell into everything. Then we've got some nice little reverse cymbals and effects and stuff, just to bring it into that nice tight thing. Then all of that together sounds like this.
We're rolling with it.
Then we go into kind of the main hook, which was heard at the start of the track when it was filtered off. So this is the kind of extroverted, for lack of a better word, version of the intro where everything's going for it. So all the drums, just a straight ahead ride groove, like 4 to the floor. And in terms of percussion, we've got quite a bit going on. So some snaps, claps as well. Yep. Some other little percussions, tambourine, offbeat shaker, very quiet. Don't know why that's even there. Not one conga loop, but 2. And a chopped percussion loop from earlier as well. And all of that with the drums just feels good. With the bass, doing that disco bass line, but again with all these other layers augmenting it. Just straight up chords filling out the harmony. Some other stuff, we got some pads and that retro harp. You can hear everything stuttering with the kick, but again, it gave it the space. So then we've got some guitars. So these are going to be those position 2s doing the acoustic thing, as well as the acoustics just giving long drawn out chords. Position 4 is going to be a bit warmer, that kind of Corey Wong sound. And the main kind of hook, so that patch, and also a pan flute, because I love a pan flute. Nice and kind of sharp attack to it. With a bend, just gave it that, again, pop, brightness. It's almost like a vocal, a pan flute. And then like a crash, a nice little sprinkle, which just fills all this sparkle into a mix. And a like down riser. Let's just ignore that. So all of that together. And then we go back into the kind of hook thing. Into verse 2, where nothing really changes, because I'm boring and lazy, apart from a few little ad-libs, I'm calling them, on these auto-wahs. Different phrase there, and then also here, I think. Which is fun, and then I'm pretty sure the rest is exactly the same. So then we have another chorus. I think the only thing that changes is a few of the little percussions come in. Did I literally copy and paste it? No, I couldn't have. I mean, I could have, but I don't think I did. Some of the percussions come in just to give it a bit more lift and something else, I swear. So there's some other tambourines and stuff going on. And then there's a fun moment here where I wanted a completely different change of scenery for the middle eight, and something very, mid 2000s John Mayer, where it just does a complete left turn and goes somewhere different. So the chord goes from, I need to figure this out. So we're on this kind of G flat major 9, which is B flat minor. But then we go to like an F sharp over A, I think, to bring it to a D major 9. So that was, oh, not that. And now you're in D major. So it just gave me a new place to go, basically. Right, so where were we? We were back in the tracks. And if I mute all the leads, so you can just hear how that harmony's working, it sounds like this. Which was a really nice shift, I thought. I'm proud of that. And then we go into the middle eight, but we kind of join it with that lead phrase on top. And this is a very 80s yacht rock kind of section. Very cheesy, but I love cheesy. And it's kind of a mid-gain sound, I believe Tone King, again, neural DSP. With a piano, just a contact sound, doubling it. And I really wanted to kind of go places with the chords and not change key every change, but go somewhere different. We basically end up in C minor. Let's just go from the pads down. So that's where the middle 8 goes, which is completely different to, it's really different to that. So I was like, how do I possibly get back to that? And I was like, well, what would a lazy composition person do? And just put a chord stab in. And we're back. And I just went with it. I was like, I'll be able to do something a bit smarter and a bit more, inventive later on. But I just didn't. So that's how the song goes. And there's some cool layers in that solo. So there's a nod to Follow Me by Pat Metheny, a nice little Lyle Mays keys part, which this is all very influenced by, Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays did a lot for my musical bank of inspiration. So that's a little nod to that. What else? Oh yeah, there's a baritone guitar in here, which is just super, again, 80s and cheesy, but kind of sounds like that song from Top Gun. Oh yeah, some nice arpeggios here in the keys. Some strings. So a few guitars. One thing I do want to talk about, where are they? I've lost them. Oh yeah, here they are. So these, I've called them acoustic Fijis, like very, again, lazy behind the beat acoustics. Super sidechained and kind of pumping with that kick. But I really got into this artist called Fiji Blue. Really cool, house inspired, but chill and very organic sounding. And they use these acoustics kind of in this way. Just gave it some nice brightness and width again. I could have pushed them that far, but would have been a bit too much. Maybe not. Anyway, that kind of gave the identity to all this middle 8 and made it feel like a kind of change of scenery. So then, like I said, we go back into the chorus. And some different bass stuff, which is, where is it? Oh yeah. So just a nice little fill there to bring it in and give it some movement. And we're back into another chorus. It stays the exact same again. Nice little woodblock thing. Just a little phrase, something different actually. And then, we go into the kind of outro. And a lot of reverb on the vocals, which I think I automated on. But yeah, we end on that G flat major 9 chord. There's just something about a 4 chord that feels right to end on. That was a very whistle stop tour. I didn't go into much in terms of the actual sound design and stuff, but those are the layers. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone's kind words on it. I hope you've enjoyed listening to it. It's done all right in streams actually for, not putting anything out in a couple of years. I didn't expect people to even know that I had stuff on Spotify and were following me. So it's a nice surprise to see some streams and some playlists people have added it to. So appreciate that. Thank you very much. Loads more to come. Next one very soon. And I'm going to try and do as much as I can this year with releasing music and just get on, the momentum of all that. Because I really enjoy it. Most of the time I am making music. I'm just not putting it out. So thanks again for listening. And I'll carry on doing these for the next couple of tracks. People want them. Anyway, until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching.